Some call me Don Julio. We're trying to do more education at the bartender level on upselling. When prices are down, you have to get people to buy more stuff.
Yeah.
I want to be able to tap into Latino marketing channels, Latino organizations. I feel like a lot of people don't market to them the way they need to be.
One meeting with the right buyer can change your year, and he is that buyer. I'm Jason Reposa. After 25 years in tech and cannabis, I host High Functioning to show what actually works. Today's guest is Julio Vasquez, Director of Procurement at Temescal Wellness and co-founder of Ultra Premium Gas. He programs menus for speed, aiming for 4-week turns and high sell-through. His taste is the filter. He's also building Ultra Premium Gas ahead of its first drop through community-driven events that center Latino culture and convert attention into demand. We get into the buyer's checklist and how to earn a spot in his menu and how culture becomes conversion.
Biggest complaint right now that I have at our retail is variety. Is definitely one of the complaints. They want more variety, which is always tough to get variety on the menu.
Yeah.
Just because if you're putting somebody on the menu, you're most likely kicking somebody off.
Right.
Or you're taking on less of their inventory.
This is culture-driven execution. Let's dive in.
I like to think of myself as a cannabis curator, entrepreneur. Some call me Don Julio.
All right.
But yeah, overall, the industry's been my life. So, anything cannabis related. Right now, I'm Director of Procurement and Business Development at Temescal Wellness. And trying to start my own thing. Partnered up with Bridget and Kayla with UPG, Ultra Premium Gas. And then, hoping to launch that in the market, curate some events, and put on for Latinos. That's my main mission.
Very cool. So, sounds like you got some legacy roots then. You've been in it for a minute?
I've been in the legal side of things since 2016.
Yeah.
Started off in Rhode Island.
Was Rhode Island medical or something?
Yes.
Okay. At the same time Massachusetts kind of thing, or before that?
I think Massachusetts kicked off a little bit after, but the adult use in Massachusetts kicked off a lot sooner than Rhode Island. But yeah, medical was great. I honestly enjoyed when it was medical only.
That's interesting because everybody always pushes for adult use.
Yeah.
But you liked the medical days in Rhode Island.
I did. The medical days, I mean, there was a lot of quality available. Not saying that there's not a lot of quality available now, but, quality really stood out because it was medicinal.
Right.
When it becomes adult use, I feel like people start taking shortcuts. People in the AU market, TAC is everything, THC is everything.
So the medical market kind of gets underserved at that point too. Adult use comes, shortcuts, money's involved, and they're just the medical market. I mean, same thing happened in Massachusetts, right? Because we get the vertical side of medical, so we can't do medical as our own license holder because we only hold the manufacturing license. We don't have to grow in the retail, so we can't participate in the medical market right now, which I still would love to participate in the medical market.
You might be able to.
Soon, if it gets deverticalized,
yeah.
Absolutely. But in Rhode Island, so you guys were medical for a long time then, before adult use came.
Oh, yeah.
The really quick on the Rhode Island side, do you have something cooking in Rhode Island too, or?
Something cooking in the pot. Yeah, we are. I'm part of a co-op group called PVD Flowers. There's about 5 members right now. 6 members.
How do you structure something like that? Is it based on a proportionate amount of investment almost, or is it time? How do you become one of the co-op members here?
So
is it already a VC behind it, or is it somebody just pulled a bunch of money together and said hey, we're going to do this?
So we're doing a lot of the money via fundraising right now. There is a co-op group in Rhode Island in terms of Coalition of Rhode Island Co-op. That they're helping co-op licenses find some real estate, lock in some real estate.
Oh, it's almost like the social equity program in Massachusetts. It's educating about in that stuff too.
Yeah, a little bit.
But they don't help. I mean, I guess the SE they don't really help you with the licensing part or the real estate stuff.
We still got to put up the application, write the application. Still have to apply. Rhode Island is weird. It's a lottery base. So like, even if we go through these steps, we're still not guaranteed a license.
Right,
We might get a guarantee to have an application towards the lottery, but once we get through to the lottery, it's
you don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah,
so,
so like, because I've seen these lottery systems play out in different ways. Like in Connecticut or something like that, there was like, one person put in like 200 applications, and so they have just a better chance, right? So they paid the big fee, thousands and thousands of dollars to put the applications in, and then just to get like a better chance at getting one of those kind of like golden tickets in a sense. But the Rhode Island market, as far as I know, isn't there like 12 dispensaries in Rhode Island or something like that?
there's 6 right now.
6 dispensaries in all of Rhode Island. I know Rhode Island's the smallest state, obviously, but like 6?
Yes. And, recently, the 3 opened up, which equaled to 6, because before there was only 3 operating for so long.
Wow. So I know like Mother Earth. Everybody talks about that one because it's like right on the highway. You go to Providence.
That was one of the newer ones.
Okay.
Greenleaf was there, Summit was there, and Slater Center.
Slater Center. Yeah. So when it comes to like that market, are you there? You want to participate in the Rhode Island market because it's kind of like that hometown vibe kind of thing?
Yeah, I have a lot of relationships with a lot of guys still in that market.
Yeah.
Especially some of the cultivators. And it's hometown. I love the Massachusetts market. I'd like to stay in it as long as I can. Especially with UPG. I feel like UPG could really, really have success in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is very diverse, very welcoming, and I feel like if you can make it in Mass, you can make it anywhere, in a sense.
Yeah, it's very restrictive too.
Yeah, it's very restrictive.
It's open in a sense they'll let you get your license, but they'll also let you shoot your foot too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't make it easy for you in Mass, but that's part of the reason why I like it too. It's like every day it's something new. Every week it's never like repeating the same task. I'm always, just price fluctuations. Like if you're not on top of it, you're gonna get left. If you're not up to date with pricing, if you have, overstock in your retail with inventory, that you overpaid, pricing might be different next month or so. So it's always keeping your inventory dialed in and being on top of the pricing that's going on in the market.
Yeah, we definitely got to get to some of those topics because I do feel like that's a lot of what the audience is probably going to want to know is like stock levels and stuff like that, especially on the procurement side, like what you look at when you're thinking about new potential vendors, yada, yada, yada. Before we get there, though, just to finish up on Rhode Island, like it's a co-op model with 5-6 other people or co-op groups in that single co-op, right? So you're all going in together for that one license. I just want to be clear on that one. So the attraction is the hometown feel. Do you think, like, are you bringing like UPG potentially through that as a vehicle, or?
I think the license is only for retail. There's opportunity to partner up with a cultivator in Rhode Island to then get UPG off in Rhode Island. But overall, I think what interests me in the co-op is that everyone involved has share in the company. So, one of the biggest issues I've ran into in cannabis is the turnover rate.
Yes.
You got people job hopping.
Right.
You got, constantly people underperforming, or, those overperformers aren't getting compensated correctly and they leave and go somewhere else.
Right, exactly.
So I think, co-op really, if you get the right people in there and you build the right team, you have less risk of them leaving because they are taking a part in the profits. Yeah,
exactly, because it's co-op, right? That makes a lot of sense. So the profits are shared basically at that point. So it's gonna be interesting for you potentially. I mean, have you started other companies in the past kind of thing, or is UPG in this co-op situation kind of like the first?
These will kind of be like my first companies in a sense. Besides cannabis, I'm in real estate. Investment. So, but besides that, yeah, this will be my real
cool. Yeah. So when it comes to, because you're going to be on the other side of it, right? Because now Temescal obviously employs you, and then you're going to be like seeing the other side, and as the boss People are gonna be like, "Hey, Julio, I need this day off," and well, of course, as a manager, you probably get some of that stuff. But like, I just feel like an owner versus being on staff is a different dynamic.
It's definitely gonna be different,
right?
Yeah,
and you're flipping that a little bit on your side.
Yeah, with the co-ops, there's rules at play for a co-op too. Like for decision-making purposes, not day to day, but like, if you wanted to, for example, if you wanted to rearrange the retail space and, collectively as a group, we'd have to come together with
It's democratic, so
exactly.
Everybody gets their share.
Exactly.
Interesting. So switching just really quickly on the Temescal side, let's talk a little bit about, and we're going to get to UPG, definitely. I think we're going to spend a bit of time. But on the Temescal side, that's how I know you, obviously, because, we've met a few times in the past. I think one of the first times though was in person anyways, was at Fire Seed.
Yes.
Right. We were there together, and I think Avery or somebody like introed us or whatever. We were just like chatting about random things, stuff like that. I remember you telling me this. You were like, because I was like, "Hey, our beverage enhancer." You're like, "Yeah, I like it, but it's not strong enough." Right. And you're like, "It's not." And Avery brought this up on the podcast when he was on. He was just like, I remember, because at that point, and we were so regulations focused, compliance focused. We were like, well, if it's like goes in a drink, so it's an edible. And then we saw a competitor come out and they were just like, but they were a tincture. And I was like, how did that even work? You can't measure it, like all these things. It was like, I don't get it. Like, how could you do all these things? Because it doesn't look like a tincture, but you can claim it under the specific kind of like interpretation of the regulations. And I was like, I think we got to do something about this, because you're not the first person who told me that to my face. Like, we just need a higher dose. There's some people out there thinking, 100 mgs is their dose. You know what I mean? That's what their go-to is. So I take that to heart, because that moment right there kind of led us into the pivot, because that was probably like October-ish. And we started developing in like October of like 23 or something like that. So we started developing like our own kind of internal like products, and eventually we found like a really great formulation, and we were like, all right, this is the one we're going to launch with. And we probably turned it around in like 6 months after that or something like that. You know what I mean? But
which has been doing great for you, right? The high dose?
Yeah. High doses. I mean, that was a big shock to me. And that's kind of like, I guess, because you have to listen to your customers, obviously, right? Your customers are going in there and buying specific things, and your retail staff is telling you probably some things like, hey, we need more of this, more of that, whatever. High dose consumers totally took me off guard, because I'm not a high dose consumer.
Yeah.
Right. But you got to listen to the people who are the most passionate about the plant sometimes. And they're like, I need 25 mgs. I need 50 mgs. Like, I can have half your bottle, and it's not good. It's like, that's 2 servings for me, So once we pivoted to there, that has been serving us really, really well. And it seems like it's it's not going away anytime soon. People are still gobbling up. We hear horror stories actually sometimes, though. You'd be surprised what people do. So we heard this one story, and I think I might have already retold this in the pod, but I'll repeat it real quick. We got a person, maybe it was a GM or maybe it was the buyer, who reached out to our sales teams like, hey, just so you know, this happened at the store today. Somebody bought one of our 1,000 mg products, a Good Vibes X product. I think it was Mango Guava. They bought our 1,000 mg product. They paid cash for it, and after the bud tender handed it to them, they cracked it open and drank the whole bottle.
Right in the shop?
Right in the shop. And the retail staff's being like, stop, you can't do that. You can't open the product here. Chugged the whole thing, recapped it, put it back on the table, and left.
Wow.
And I was like, that's insane. First of all, it's 1,000 milligrams. Some people have crazy tolerances, right? And so from my perspective, high dose isn't going away anytime soon. And so that's definitely the playground we're going to live in, especially in Massachusetts here. But when you're looking at new vendors, like, what kind of criteria do you look at?
I look at a few things, like, where do you fit on the menu? Like, quality-wise, price point-wise, ingredient-wise. The menu isn't just, you don't just throw things at the menu and, see if something sticks. Within a category, I got different categories, like flour, for example. I got top shelf flour, I have standard flour, and I got value flour. So that's how I like to categorize that, and that's price point focus and also quality focus. So it's like first identifying where you fit on that menu, and then identifying the price point you want for your product. So if you know, if I come by and check out your flower, and, you know, and from my experience, if it's value flower and you're asking for standard price point, it's not going to work. Just because
you can't put it out in the market at that price.
At that price.
So it's a lower price. Yeah,
you're going to get customers who shop on your menu who are also tiering your menu. So they're looking at your menu.
In their head, they're like, all right, I know this is a value red. I know what I'm going to get.
Exactly.
But if you go to that standard level and you get a value product, you're like, I'm not shopping here again.
That's the risk.
Right.
So I try to play by my rules that I've set, because, you know, once I stray away from it, you know, like trying a vendor out that isn't a top shelf vendor, they're more of a standard value vendor at that higher price point, you know, sure, I might have, tack always sells, sure, but are they going to come back? You know? So and a lot of times it might fly, but you don't know if these people are coming back. You know, if I price something correctly, in terms of the quality, even if it's lower tack, it's always important to get the bud tenders to try the products for one. You know, I try to do that as much as I can, where, you know, if it's quality, it's not high testing, and I understand why you want a certain price for it, because the quality's there. Certain strains aren't going to test 30.
Right, they're just not. Right.
Like Purple Punch, for example. A lot of people don't grow Purple Punch anymore.
Right.
But that's one of those strains that tests 22% max.
Have you seen over the years, like, a lot of the lower THC, kind of low tack coming out of the market, and there's all straight, like, high tack, 30% plus?
Like a lot of the strains that I enjoyed at that lower THC, because you know, certain strains aren't supposed to tack out at 30.
Right.
Aren't around anymore. Right. You know, and you know, shout out Coastal Healing, they still got Purple Punch. It's not testing anything crazy, but man, they grow killer Purple Punch. So shout out to them for keeping that in their rotation, even though it's not what the market wants necessarily, but those strains are enjoyable. But yeah, maybe in the way I get those strains on the menu is more or less like, maybe I'm not grabbing a ton of those. Maybe I'm only grabbing a little bit of them, because I know it's of quality. And again, it's a little bit of education too. It gives the staff a chance to educate the customer, like, hey, tack isn't everything. Grab one of these, and try it out and come back and let me know what you think.
I feel like it's so strange how, like, all the customers that visit, not all of them, but like a majority of them, because that's where the market's moved to, are coming in and being like, I just want the highest THC product for my dollar. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense from a plant that was grown in the ground.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, there's so many different other industries you can kind of equate it to in a sense, but like, it's hard though, because it's not like it's tomatoes. You know what I mean? Like a tomato, there's obviously the varietals, there's heirloom tomatoes and all this other stuff, but then there's just like beef steaks you buy at the store, right? So it's like, I kind of get it, because obviously a lot of people are hurting money-wise, but at the same time, it's like, do you have that nostalgia about those strains that just, are you but sad that it hasn't come out yet? Because you're part of the chain also, right? Because you're the buyer, right? And so people are hard. I can imagine, like, how many SKUs do you have to manage, for instance?
We have probably anywhere from 500 SKUs to 800 SKUs.
Across all stores?
At each store?
At each store, right. And do they vary at all, or you just try to do it all the same?
They vary.
Oh, because it's different locations,
Different locations. Yeah, I move a lot of flower in Pittsfield. I move more edibles in Framingham. You know,
different markets.
Hudson's a little bit of everything. But yeah, certain products might be successful in Framingham that aren't necessarily successful in Pittsfield.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, has nothing to do with tack. It's just that certain customers like certain things.
Right. It's demographics. It's like who the people that are shopping in those stores, right?
Yeah, and you know, a lot of my job as a curator is finding those niche of like, all right, what are the higher end products I can move at each location? You know, it's like Fresh Connection does very well. They're not the cheapest flower, nor they're one of the highest testing flowers on my menu, but they constantly do well on my menu. I feel like a lot of that too is education and constantly having them in stock. like certain
Yeah, if they go out of stock, people just forget about it and just move on to the next strain.
Yeah, and it takes, right, because I have a lot of consistent shoppers that shop, so
Gotta keep them happy.
new product, new vendor on the menu. It might not do well at first, but like give it some time. You might have to bring it in again, especially if it's quality, and then eventually it'll catch on with your customer base.
And your education starts, I guess, with the bud tenders?
Starts at the bud tender level.
Yeah.
We're working on a lot more education now. But yeah, I think the bud tenders having a chance to try stuff is definitely good, because how do they recommend something if they've never tried it before?
Mm-hmm.
That's always tough. When I go shopping, I don't look at the numbers. I shop for flavor profiles more than anything. I like stuff that's gassy. I like chemi. I like candy. Mm-hmm. So like those are the types of, that's the type of smoke I like and what I look for. So when I go shopping, that's what I'm asking for. I'm like, do you have any candy?
Right,
do you have any gas? I'm not asking what's the highest THC.
Right.
Sometimes when I ask them, like, what do you have? What do you have that's the best that you could recommend? And they're, a lot of the times they're like, well, this is testing 30%.
Right.
Yeah, that's not what I asked.
I didn't ask that, right. Well, because the salespeople who are like the wholesale salespeople are reaching out to you, they're like, we got all these over 30%, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, what's gassy?
Yeah.
Right. And then that kind of like maybe stumps them a little bit,
But actually,
who makes ultimately like what? So you're relying on a lot of your own senses, obviously.
Yes.
But is there anybody on your team that you'll throw things at? Is staff being like, hey,
100%.
like, I just heard about this new brand, we should look at them? Like, how do people eventually get that information to you? Not from the salesperson perspective, because I'm sure you get hit up all the time, but more internally, like, how do people get to you to be like, hey, we should do some more stuff like this?
I'm constantly in meetings with retail. Megan's our director of retail. She's great. I have inventory staff at each retail. We're constantly asking for feedback. What they like, what they don't like, what's not doing well, what the customers are saying to us. So that's a lot of the feedback I'm looking for from customer feedback, bartender feedback. That's can't put a price on that stuff. Obviously, some customers complain about stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But
what's the biggest complaints right now?
Biggest complaint right now that I have at our retail is variety. Is definitely one of the complaints. They want more variety, which is always tough to get variety on the menu.
Yeah.
Just because if you're putting somebody on the menu, you're most likely kicking somebody off.
Right.
Or you're taking on less of their inventory.
It seems crazy because it's like you said 500-600 SKUs. That sounds like variety to me.
You'd think, right?
Right.
But, when you look at some of these other menus, they must have like 1,000,
right.
1,200 SKUs, man, because they're carrying a little bit of everything.
Right.
And it's like, it's hard to be able to do business that way, I think.
Well, how do you manage the levels? Do you look at it like I have a certain amount of budget every week? Do you always try to like aim for like a certain amount of inventory? So you always have to be like, all right, we have to have $1 million in inventory at all times? Or do you just get like a budget like $200,000 a week or whatever to spend on?
I work with a budget. That budget changes monthly, weekly.
What is that based on? Like higher ups being like, hey, we can only spend this much this month. Here's your budget.
So Jeremy's basically, he's like my right hand man. He's our director of financial ops. Him and I meet like every day. Just like, cause like, we've had issues at Temescal. I'm not, gonna shy away from that stuff.
Good, cause I'm gonna ask you maybe a few of those questions.
But, we've had issues. I mean, a lot of the issues stem from, bad decisions that were made in terms of, adding a new facility. North Adams really crushed us. Big investment that didn't pan out well. So it hurt money. And, a lot of our partners, they took the brunt force of that.
You mean the vendors?
Yeah, a lot of our vendors.
Yeah.
We've been, to this day, we're still squaring up with some of those guys.
Well, I feel like, so North Adams is the cultivation, right?
Yeah, that.
So I feel like, one of the things I always emphasize is not getting ghosted, right? Because we tell people, so we have people all the time like, hey, I'm starting a delivery operator business, or I'm starting a new dispensary. We'll have them here for tours and all this other stuff. And when they come in here, we always tell them, just don't ghost us. That's all. Like, as long as there's open communication, we're good, right? And that's one of the things I give you tons of credit for is like, you're there, right? Yeah. So it's like, I think one of the best things, and this is a testament to you as a human, was that I think you even told us at one point, it was one of our salespeople, obviously, you told, and I heard about it, which was, I'm not bringing you in because we can't pay you. You literally were like, we can't pay you. You can send it to us if you like. We're not gonna pay you. Yeah, we're having trouble here. So we were just like, we got you. Like, we're not gonna send any product. Thank you so much for giving us a heads up. Because there's a bunch of buyers out there who would have been like, yeah, send us product, and we'll figure out eventually how to. You know what I mean? Like they don't care sometimes, right? So I just kudos to you for like being a stand-up dude to be like, don't send us products. I'm not gonna pay you.
I understand like if this ship was to go south.
Yeah.
If I'm looking out for another job, it's like
exactly that's
my rent on the line. Yeah. You know, it's like sure people will understand if there was decisions made that that were made that ended up tanking the company, and they know that those weren't my decisions. But like people won't understand like, hey, like I was trying to call you and you weren't answering. Right. Like so, I try to be transparent with people. And I'm also, like I said, when expanding the menu, it's tough, especially because of situations like that. Like, it's hard to bring somebody in if we owe somebody money or like, I try to make sure before I re-up with someone, make sure they're paid. Yeah. Before I re-up. Because, like, I don't want to get ourselves in a position where it's too deep for us to get out.
You're just rolling it over and over again. Yeah.
So at least I learned from the mistakes that we did, and like now all of our current vendors are current,
right?
Paid.
That's awesome.
And just awesome. Keeping up, and Jeremy's the same way. He responds like he pays the bills. Well, Ed don't want to pay the bills, but Jeremy's responsive. He puts the payments in queue, and I think for the most part, a lot of people say the same thing. It's like, hey, thank you for, letting us know.
Just responding. Yeah. I mean, all the buyers out there, you just got to respond. If, like, you owe us money, it's not like a mystery. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows, you know, we know, everybody, your finance team knows, your accounting team knows, whatever you have as a controller, they all know you owe us money. So, like, just be like, hey, I can't pay you right now, but let's figure something out, right? Whether it's a payment plan or whether it's just like, I just can't pay you. Look at the news headlines. You know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So on the cultivation side, did you guys ever have manufacturing, or do you still manufacture?
We have manufacturing. We used to do a lot of tolling. Right now, we don't. We're not manufacturing oil per se, but we are still manufacturing vapes, gummies, packaging.
Those are like in-house brands, or those are co-packing deals?
In-house brands that we produce. So we produce Inferno. Which is flower and rosin edibles and concentrates.
Do you wholesale those out too, or is it just for your stores?
Majority goes through our shops, and then I do have a couple wholesale partners who take them. It's had a big roller coaster. Temescal's been a roller coaster. So it's been hard being able to build a wholesale project when you got so much noise, much else going on.
Are you responsible for the wholesale side also?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But for the most part, honestly, we sell enough. We couldn't sell anymore, or retail would be starving for some of our brands.
Absolutely. Well, because you still have customers coming in asking for these products, right? So it's like you don't want to. Again, you want to be in stock. If you're out of stock, they're just going to switch to the other gummy. You know what I mean?
And we don't have a big production team. We got 4 people back there.
Nice. Keeping it lean.
Yeah, keeping it lean. Shout out to them. They're crushing it right now. And yeah, just keeping it lean and focusing on our SKUs that do well at our retail.
If you're into cannabis, entrepreneurship, or just like hearing from people who actually build things, check out High Functioning. It's real talk with founders, operators, and big thinkers. No fluff, just game. New episodes drop every Friday, and you can subscribe and listen at highfunctioning.show. All right, let's get back to the show. So So in the cultivation, the North Adams project, was that started because we were like, just like the green, rush was on? Like, when did that project even start? Was that even before your time?
I've been at Temescal 4 years, going on 4 years, and that was already in play before I got there.
How much money was spent?
Oh, dude.
Like 20 million or something crazy. I heard in the reports.
More than that,
More than 20 million. How many square footage or canopy were supposed to be there?
Like 28,000.
Yeah.
It's not even like if you're spending that much. I mean, I would never advise anyone to spend 20 million on a facility ever. Like that was,
especially like 28,000 square feet of canopy.
Even a couple million. Like, for 28,000, like
it's not that much.
You know, the square footage money didn't make sense. But they at the time they were looking at it as, you know, everyone's getting 4,000 a pound.
Right.
We're selling.
It's a long-term investment. Let's get it done.
Yeah, we're selling $60 eighths, but they weren't looking at like what's going on in other states and like.
You're just gonna look to California is what we always say. Look, what's happening over there? What's happening in Colorado? What's happening in Oregon right now? Right? Or Washington. I get them all confused. But like, there's like they're like even their sales are just like I think it's down like 4% year over year now, right, or something crazy like that. On a revenue basis, which is always interesting because revenue and units are two different metrics, and we measure, of course, internally. But it is different in a sense that I've heard from other retailers who are just like, yeah, our revenue is basically flat, but our average basket has like 40% more units in it.
Yeah.
Because the prices are just coming down, so you can afford more and more stuff. So people are buying more, you know, on a unit basis, but not on a revenue basis.
Yeah. The big key now in this market is upselling.
Is that something you put into the bud tenders' kind of hands?
Yeah, we're trying to do more education at the bud tender level on upselling. It's been tough, but I think that's when prices are down, you have to get people to buy more stuff.
Yeah, basket size have to go.
Yeah, basket size has to go up.
Right.
So, really honing in on, you know, upselling, right? And then if you understand where your basket is, you know, I try to structure deals like if we're doing a BOGO deal or, you know, mix and match. I try to structure those deals above our basket size. That way, it kind of helps the bud
brings
tender,
everything up. Yeah,
you know, pitch a deal that we know is above the basket.
Do they get any incentives or anything like for like doing some of those deals?
We do contests in house, certain contests for bud tenders in house. You know, they might get a gift card or they'll get product. But yeah, this is stuff that Megan just got promoted to director of retail. We need some help. She used to be the manager at in Pittsfield. She runs a great team out there. So she, you know, they do a good job. Pittsfield basket's above the other stores usually. A lot of that has to do with New York coming through.
Right.
But like again, her location requires like premeditated travel. Like people, she doesn't get like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store, let me stop by here. She gets like, I'm going to Temescal, people. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, she does a good job and her staff is great. And she does a lot of contests in-house and Pittsfield, a lot of bud tender initiatives. We want to get that going throughout the other locations.
So she got Reposa, so now she kind of oversees all three then?
Yeah, oversees a lot of the, you know, bud tender education, bud tender marketing, and then a lot of the stuff we haven't done before in the past. We've done them in Pittsfield, like, community outreach stuff, like in terms of events with other businesses.
It's out of Cannabis even, right?
Yeah,
right.
So outside of our shop, just like local breweries, doing organizations with them, throwing like curated events there. Like we want to be more engaged in our communities. We do a lot of fundraising at the shops. We've supported a lot of foundations. We still do. We have a D&I council. You know, with a few groups of people from every store or department, where we, you know, every month we are constantly switching organizations that we're supporting and donating to. But we want to be more involved in our communities in terms of, you know, being a part. Everyone
presence,
presence. Like, you know, there's food truck festivals around all the time. We want to figure out how to get engaged in that stuff.
That's what I tell retail all the time. So when I have conversations with retail, I'm like, well, what are you doing for the community? Because stop competing on price, first of all. Like, don't just be like, oh, what are they doing over there? Let's lower our prices. Because it's a race to the bottom. Everybody knows that. But it's like, if you can differentiate yourself in the market, by just being present in your own local communities, and I've talked about this a lot on this podcast, and a lot of people have brought this up, it differentiates you. It's 100%. Like, oh, they're here. I know what this company is. They're only across this, around the block from here or across the street or whatever. Like, they get it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I remember this Temescal.
Mm-hmm.
You always like kind of remember the name now. So just being that brand awareness, being like, we exist.
That's
and
huge.
And so like for us, it's about making sure customer service is top notch and all those things. Like the incentive stuff for bud tenders is really important. The community or the charitable causes are also really important too. I think that goes a long way with people. You'd be surprised how many people it resonates with. There's a restaurant down the street where they don't allow tips. What they do is when you pay, you can donate what you were going to tip basically to 3 different charities, and they have it rotating as well, but there's 3 buckets up front for like throwing cash in, and it's like some animal humane society, and then there's like a Dana-Farber one or whatever, and you get to choose almost as a patron to that restaurant, like, oh, I want the animal one, like I'm gonna put it into that one today, right? So it goes a long way with people because I still remember that, you know what I mean? Like, it's a local restaurant and I don't go there that often, but I think about that sometimes,
Yeah,
because it's about community. It's about building that community behind your store.
It's very important. Yeah, and then even being on a friendly basis with the other businesses around you helps.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you never know when they might invite you to go do something, or like for example, we're trying to get this bar at near our Framingham location to maybe we get some coasters made. Their bar is literally called Temescal. So like it'll be like a cool, like,
yeah, I know that spot. So wait a second. So actually, I was just thinking about that. That Framingham location is on the border of Natick, I guess,
yes.
Right? It's right there. And I know Reddy is there as well. So like that specific location is super interesting to me. It's right off the highways, right there. Is that an advantage, or do you still find people just like flying by you?
I think it's an advantage, and I think more competition isn't necessarily a bad thing, because that whole area is like getting known to like, oh, I could go shop for cannabis over there, and
right.
They're probably going to be competitive, and so I feel like more stores draws people to go shop their cannabis over there.
That makes sense, yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but yeah, competition is definitely steep, and I'm not one to focus on my competition's menu. Like, sure, I gotta know what's going on at my competition, but if I'm doing everything my competition's doing, then I'm just the same as my competition.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like in order for us to be successful, we gotta do things that are unique to us. Mm-hmm. Whether it be like carrying certain SKUs that no one around us has,
right?
Or
which I think benefits the smaller providers, because you do get like the multi-state operator kind of push, where it's just like, okay, we're a giant gummy brand that's national, and you're in all 400 stores in Massachusetts. It's like, at that point, it's just shopping for Coca-Cola. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna go here to get Coke, and sometimes I'm gonna go over there to get Coke, right? So I think about it as that benefits a lot of the smaller providers, because it's just like, okay, not everybody has fresh connection though, yes. Right? So it's like, how do we get fresh connection into the Framingham store or whatever?
I think having those, like, especially in a spot like Framingham, having SKUs that are unique to us, that other stores don't have around us, is definitely a risk, but I think it's more of a benefit, because if I'm, for example, carrying a gummy SKU that every store around me has in Framingham, if I sell out of it for 3 days, they're going somewhere else.
I know. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I have it more expensive than someone around me has it, they're gonna go over there.
Yeah.
So if I could lock in a customer to like a gummy SKU no one has, well, they're coming to us.
Yeah, to keep it in stock, right?
I got to keep it in stock, and they don't have an option around me to come get it. So as long as I keep it in stock, that's customer retention, customer loyalty. If they like that SKU and can't get it.
Yeah. Is there a specific like, who comes up with the prices? Is it between you and say like Megan, or is it Megan driving a lot of it?
It's mostly myself. We do take input. I take input obviously from accounting and retail as well.
There's money involved, yeah. Accounting needs to be like, all right, here's where we're going to price things.
I'll price things. I am watching the inventory making sure we have 4 weeks on hand. Anything over that, we figure out how to move. If it's because it's just not selling.
I like that. So it's 4 weeks is what you're targeting.
My target's 4 weeks.
Okay, so if you're rolling over every 4 weeks kind of inventory.
Sometimes even two. The money is always, keeping money in our pockets is always a goal. Obviously, we're paying people. If I have to get on a 2-week ordering schedule because I'm ordering a lot, then that's fine. But because it gives us, if I could sell 2 invoices in a month, it's better than having to pay up an invoice
like twice
and
as
it's
big.
not sold twice as big, So like smaller orders are nice, especially if you could dial it in on a 2-week basis.
Yeah, because I think that 4-week rotation makes a ton of sense. Just mentally, it's just logical. So like every 4 weeks, you're just gonna roll. The inventory has to be basically out, and we're gonna place another order to get the next 4 weeks kind of in. So that's the way you do it. And then when the pricing comes in, though, as you're pricing things, you must be looking at some of the neighborhood a little bit to be like, what are they pricing things at, just so you don't go too far out of range, right? Because what we call it internally, we call it the pain. And so that price pain is really based on distance too, right? It's just like, okay, sure, I can get XYZ gummy, 10 miles away for like $2 cheaper, but I'm not driving 10 miles extra for that $2, right?
No.
So like you must
$10 cheaper though.
Then maybe, right?
And
so there's a pain. There's like, how much pain is that dollar worth?
Yes.
Right.
I think especially if they lift the cap, right?
Right.
They're like, if you could sell 2 ounces, then that's going to make things interesting.
Right.
Because if you got, bottom pricing and, you're $3 more, $2 more, it might come into play if someone's coming to max out 2 ounces.
Well, what percentage of people are maxing out 2 ounces? Do you think it's going to be a lot? I mean, just speaking, of course, of your own audience, your own customer base.
I don't know yet because I haven't seen it. Now, I used to run a lot of medical, right? I used to run a lot of quarter-pound deals. So mix and match ounces, mix and match quarters up to a quarter pound. 4 ounces, you get a deal. Because medical, it's you don't have an allotment. You get what they give you in a month.
Right.
And it varies per person.
Right.
So I've played around the allotment, trying to max out people on medical, and I was getting 2 to 3 people a day coming in and just let me get the QP, across
deals.
all stores,
Yeah,
not
of course.
each store, but across all, which is good. I think that's good data to work with. There is people out there who noticed that I'm doing a quarter pound deal and came in and grabbed it.
Right.
So, that's when they do raise it, I'm going to play around with the 2 ounce allotments to see what I could come up with a deal, whether it be an all gummy deal,
right,
all concentrate deal,
right,
all flower deal, play around with that stuff and see if I could get something to stick.
Yeah, I like that.
Because it's so new, we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah, and I think that's the thing with the regulatory world of what we live in Massachusetts changes, right? And so when you said license cap, I thought when you said cap, I thought you meant license cap.
Oh, that's going to be
Would Temescal go to their 4th potentially?
But I mean, it would help. I think. I mean, people.
So because the stores are profitable, you guys are good.
Yeah, we're good right now. I mean, I think it would definitely help. The more stores you have in the right locations, I think help because the overall leadership team doesn't change, So I think increasing our space, in terms of doors. Definitely help. I mean, that's what MSO is doing. Look at Florida, for example.
I know. We talk about Florida a lot. Truly having 300 stores or something crazy.
That's where all their money's coming from. They weren't making money out here in Mass.
No, they were. They left. They also left a giant cultivation behind.
Yeah.
I remember when they were fire selling all of their stuff, I got a spreadsheet of all their equipment and all this product. And some of it was so old. And I'm like, I can't touch any of this. It was failed flower. It was so old. And I'm like, I'm not.
How did they not move through that,
Yeah, they should have just run it all through extraction and whatever. Because we gobble up distillate here, of course. Yes. So we'll take as much distillate as possible at a decent price.
That market, from what I'm seeing, is ticking up a little bit in terms of price. Obviously, some people, you get plugged in with a vendor, you're consistent, you're paying on time, you could probably still get that same price. But I'm getting a lot more calls from, not coworkers, but like, other friends that work at other companies, just looking for biomass. I feel like biomass is getting gobbled up in the state right now.
Yeah, we've internally started looking at doing our own extraction at one point because we were just like, if we can get biomass, tons and tons of biomass, and then process it ourselves, and we can kind of keep a quality that we want to hit always. Because when you're going, sometimes we need to use multiple vendors to fulfill like just that month's supply coming up. So, because we do a lot of forecasting and planning, and all right, next month we're going to need like 25 kilos or something like that. Well, we can only get 15 from XYZ, so let's go try to find that other 10. And as we're shopping around, like, well, they're not hitting our numbers. They don't have the right tack, or they don't have, like, if you look at it, it's really dark. We've gotten some horror stories on distillate. We've gotten some stuff that have like floaties in it. We're like, what is all this stuff? Like, and we reject it. Like, you can't, like, what are you doing? Like, I know it's a good price, but like, how could you send us this?
What's this floaty stuff in here?
What is this, right? Exactly. Is it like dust? Did somebody have like a bunch of hair and they were over it and like mixed in the batch? So, but yeah, the distillate market, this is where we play obviously a lot in, definitely has ticked up. We've got some good relationships ourselves, but I would say one of the things that just came up, which I even called myself naive in this case, about getting hemp Delta 9 into the license market. Have you heard of this stuff?
I mean,
It's Delta 9 at the same.
I would never recommend anyone doing that, just because you don't know where that's coming from. Like, it could pop for pesticides or whatever. It could,
of course.
This, it could pop for...
Right.
Because you still got to test it in a full...
I was going to say, you still got to test it, right? So it's like, so you can... for lack of a better term, I always call it repatriation, and it's not the right word. I think Carl Giannoni had mentioned it's inversion, where you're taking product from outside of the metric world and bringing it in, and
it's
then
technically legal, right?
If hemp Delta 9 if it's in process, so there is a way to do it. However, you could also, and here's the thing is, again, we talked about this before the pod, even just before we were just talking about like how regulars maybe they've never been operators before, they don't fully understand what's happening in the market, or even all the possibilities that could happen. One of the things that I postulated back years and years ago when I first started looking into this, as I was doing my own chemical conversions or lab conversions of CBD to like Delta 8 just to see if I could, and it worked, and I'm like, that's cool, but like it's kind of useless to me right now because I'm not even a license holder or whatever. But you could technically take, I'm not saying anybody does this, but I don't know if this is the same inversion that Carl's talking about. I think Carl's talking about inversion that's external, that's coming in.
Yeah, like...
But technically, you can buy CBD from an MDAR-approved license holder, convert it to Delta 9 in your own lab, and then you have to go through... There is a process to be like, hey, it wasn't from a plant, but now we have THC. There is something to it. I can't remember the right terms. You do it in metric through CCC. You have to like inform them both or something like that. And then all of a sudden you've got like, because Delta 9 THC, because I also play in the hemp space.
Yeah.
If it converted, you can get it for like $750 a kilo.
Yeah.
Right. If you want natural Delta 9, which came from like a farm, and you can point to the field where it was kind of grown as CBD, and then we kind of compressed it all down to Delta 9 THC. That's like $1,500 a kilo. But it's a far cry from the $5 a kilo. It's $5,000, $6,000 I'm hearing on the market right now for like. So, anyways, obviously I don't recommend anybody dabble with that stuff, but I do think that it's just an interesting.
The window's open.
Mental exercise for me, because I can't imagine. Because I think that's just so. You're flying so close to the sun on this stuff. You're gonna get burned. There's gonna be some clause in the regulations that says actually it wasn't ever possible, and so therefore we're fining you $500,000 or whatever. And you're just like, but it could be the cleanest material too, though. It could be just like super clean Delta 9 THC. Anyways, tangent gone, tangent over.
The hemp space is definitely a disruptor. No, disruptor is the same in my
same plant and
the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've heard of people getting upset about like the hemp stuff, how it's like affecting their cannabis business, but like in my opinion, it's one and the same. Like,
has it affected sales at all, do you think, in your stores? Because you just buy a pack of gummies from whatever. I'm not going to name any brands, but like, buy a pack of gummies and get shipped to you. Even some of the operators in Massachusetts, like us, have a separate hemp portion to their company, and we don't have the same product, so it's different. But like some people have the identical products, right? And I remember Jeff Harold coming out and Guard Remedies and being like, if you have the hemp product available and the cannabis product available, we're not carrying your cannabis version of it anymore. Because there was such a risk in their heads anyways at the time of if you wanted to buy that pack of gummies or pills or whatever, get it shipped to your door, there's no reason to come into my store anymore because it's basically the same product.
Yeah, it's definitely, I don't necessarily think it's affected my sales more than price compression and competition have.
That's the real concern, not the hemp.
The hemp for me is more or less, it's an opportunity for more customers to get their feet wet with cannabis products, I think.
I think it's a gateway to it. Absolutely. Yes. So gateway is probably the wrong word to use there because that's obviously a negative connotation in cannabis. But I think that's right on because we've said this to people too. Some retailers be like, hey, but if they try our canned hemp drink that has 5 milligrams in it and they like it, they'll maybe be popping into your store to buy Good Vibes now because they want to make their own drinks or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or maybe they need higher dose stuff, and low dose stays in hemp, and high dose stays behind 3 license checks and whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's the real kicker there too. It's like, you can't really make high dose in hemp, and I think adult use. I think right now, it's 100 milligrams, 5 milligrams, but I mean, I feel like they got to play around with that.
That allotment's gonna, if it doubles, I think we're all gonna be like, all right, now there's some interesting things that are gonna come.
Yeah, like let's make some high dose. Right. Let's make some 10 milligram packs.
Exactly.
10 milligram units.
Yeah.
So I think we're ways away from that, but I think that's always going to be the difference from the hemp, unless all of a sudden you could make 5,000 milligram chocolate bars from hemp, and then that's a real
as far as I know, that's not illegal in any jurisdiction across this country.
But yeah, I think for the most part, the hemp stuff, I think it's really the door opener for customers. It's to try, like people are going to alcohol stores and they see a gummy product and they're like, oh, let me, or
the drinks a lot. Drinks, the drinks are huge in liquor stores. Yeah,
at the liquor store. Let me just grab this I got people coming over, maybe somebody likes cannabis, and then they might end up trying it, like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And, you just converted somebody who didn't go to a shop, had only consumes liquor and just saw a cannabis product, even though it's a hemp, I still consider it, THC, whatever, a cannabis product at a liquor store, and you tried it, that you might not necessarily have tried because you don't want to go to
the dispensary, right? Yeah. Exactly. You're like, I'm never walking to this dispensary, but the liquor store's around the corner. I'm gonna pick up a 6-pack of Sam Adams. I'm also gonna get this other, this Good Feel seltzer or whatever, and just to shout out my own brand versus someone else's brand, because there's so many brands out there now. But the one thing I probably would do, just because I'm in the industry, so I'm informed, I would definitely check the COAs on these products before, because some people are using converted stuff, which I personally don't consume converted material. I only do the natural Delta 9 in all of our products on the hemp side, for instance. But so definitely check COAs. If you are going to look at a hemp product, there should be a QR code in the back if they're a responsible vendor. The brand matters in this case. Look, there's some really good brands out there. Actually, I'll shout out a couple: Breeze, Cycling Frog, Can Trip, Flyers. I forgot a ton of them already, but there's a bunch of really good brands out there that do the right thing.
Yeah.
There's also Trojan Horse Cannabis. Does a really good job too. So there's a couple out there that are good people. They do the right thing. They get the 5-panel test. I think Adam Terry said this last on the podcast. His hemp products, because Cantrip was a Massachusetts brand, right? Mm-hmm. His hemp products actually have more testing requirements than the Massachusetts products. So his is like even cleaner in that sense, because it's tested, even a 5-panel test is more rigorous than what has to happen in Massachusetts. So, I trust those people. I would drink their drinks. So, but we got to get to ultra premium gas. Is it all gas, no brakes?
All gas, no brakes.
I love it.
All gas.
Yeah. So UPG, like, where did this come from? You were like, hey, I'm creative. I want to do something myself, kind of thing.
So, honestly, Bridget Cruz, she was a founder. She worked at a few companies in Massachusetts, done a lot of marketing and a lot of sales, and she's also Latina. She's a DJ as well, DJ Gasolina.
Nice.
So it's like, it's authentic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very authentic. And when her and I were talking about it, you know, I was like, Bridget, I have to get involved. Like, what do I have to do? And then, we structured some stuff. I invested into it.
Is it a license holding entity or
no? It's just a brand.
It's
We're a marketing company / cannabis brand. So she's very authentic. That's why I love the brand. It's like very Latino culture.
Are you going to have bilingual packaging?
Yeah, that's the goal. Hopefully, have some bilingual stuff, bilingual pamphlets, packaging. Doing it bilingual is gonna be. It's hard because it's like
so much space on that.
So much space on that thing. You know what I mean? But our goal is to have like have marketing channels in the Latino community.
Yeah.
So like not the regulations are a little weird, but like I want to be able to tap into Latino marketing channels, Latino organizations, Latino communities in this space. I feel like a lot of people don't market to them the way they need to be, in terms of, they're not in the normal marketing channels.
Right. I think it's an underserved market. Absolutely. I think there's a huge opportunity there. And I think, would you consider that your key differentiator? Is it going after that specific market? Yeah,
going after that market, making it feel more like they're more inclusive to Latinos. And a lot of them want to consume cannabis. A lot of them don't know how to shop for it, don't know what the names mean. So, a lot of our names are going to be just flip strains in Spanish, like garlic breath, ajo.
Right.
So a lot of the naming, and the biggest part is the community aspect and the event aspect. So we are trying to do multiple events throughout different areas of the state throughout the year. We had a Pancakes y Perreo event at Diaspora, probably around, I want to say 6 months ago. We had one. It was a great success. We are doing another one at Witch Doctor.
Okay.
In
Well, sure, right.
September.
Yeah.
September 7th to be exact. Just bringing, and we get, the last event we had a whole bunch of different people show up, like people who heard about at the event who showed up, bud tenders who are.
Do you have any products launched yet?
No, not
this
yet.
is just to get it. You guys do apparel then or something?
Apparel.
Oh, okay. So in advance, you're going to start building that brand, right?
Exactly. That's the goal. That's the brand recognition, the brand image through these events. Is what we're doing. A lot of companies don't do that.
Yeah. It's expensive to do sometimes.
It is.
I've seen renting out a space, event spaces. We've looked at it a few times, do like bud tender events to celebrate the bud tenders. And we look at some of these prices for like thousands and thousands of dollars. And we're just like, oh man, like that just hurts.
Yeah. It's
not like we have tons of cash lying around.
No, for sure. It's definitely expensive. That's, we rely on, right. We come out of pocket some. We have sponsors who love supporting us because they know, we're not that we're undeserved community, but there's not a lot of Latino cannabis brands out there. Like, Massachusetts, maybe a couple. I know Rhode Island, there's none.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any in Rhode Island at all. So like, we're trying to be a pioneer in this space. There's a few out there who have done it, especially on the West Coast. There's a lot of Latino brands out there.
Name a couple. I might. Do you know any?
The marijuana.
Marijuana.
The drinks.
The drinks.
Yeah. Those. That's a cool brand out there. I think they do Gajo. He does Gajo out there as well, which is like a flower brand.
Mm-hmm. So that's great. So like and I think that's what a lot of people come into the market and they're like, I want to build this awesome brand, and they don't have a specific target though.
Yeah.
And they're just go too broad, and then you stand for nothing. Right. So it's like, what do you stand for? Because marketing is about values, as the late great Steve Jobs had said. So it's like, what's the core of you? You know what I mean? Like, what do you guys stand for? Because if you stand for something, it resonates with people. People will buy those products because it aligns with their core of their values.
And it's not, it's not like, oh, we're just a brand, we'll just buy us because we're Latino. It's more or less like I've been curating in cannabis for a very long time. Like, I could go find stuff.
Oh yeah, it's
unique,
right?
High quality, because I've smoked a lot of stuff.
You've seen a lot.
I've seen a lot. I know if I grab a strain and I smell it, it's like, this is different. You know what I mean? At least I like to think so. And if not for nothing, like, track record has proven that I could find stuff. Like, I remember, that Sun-Kissed Tangent from Aura, that placed first in Nikan not that long ago. Like, when they brought me through and I saw that, I was like, I want this.
Right.
This is what I want, And then in Bountiful Farms a couple years ago, they had this Colorado chem rosin, and I'm like, oh, this smells different. I haven't smelled a lot of stuff like this. I bought it all, and they put it in Nikan. They won, and they couldn't sell a lot of it because I had
it all.
I had it all.
You locked the market up.
They eventually got some more in stock, but like that batch that they put in, I was like, oh damn, I have it. So like I was able to do some marketing on it, like, hey, like, we have it.
Yeah.
Bountiful has it. That's about it. But no, I feel like I've smelled a lot of stuff. I've curated a lot of stuff, and I could find stuff that's different. And that's what I want to bring to UPGs, like focusing on because we're not growers, right? We're not growing. And shout out to Rob at CNA. He's our partner.
All right. Rob was just on. Yeah.
So shout out to him. He's a good guy.
So they're going to be the cultivation?
They're going to be our manufacturer.
Oh,
They'll provide us with some strains. But I'm curating strains from a variety of vendors, just putting my stamp on it for the most part. If I see something I like and they're willing to, let us use it, I'll put it in UPG. But that's essentially what you get. You get experience from the curation aspect, different flavors. And then Bridget, she does a hell of a job at in marketing
and branding and
curating an event.
Yeah.
We've been promoting the Pancakes y Pereo event for like 2 weeks now. We got around 40 tickets sold, so we're halfway there.
Nice.
So it's we're hoping for 80 to 100. I don't have a doubt we're going to be able to sell these tickets. So it's not going to be a problem. But yeah, the event stuff is definitely expensive. But like, try to sponsors get involved. Also, ticket sales help curate the event. For this event we're doing, it's with Gems. We partnered up with Gems.
I know Gems. What is Gems?
So
it's like a education thing?
Education.
Yeah.
She does great stuff over there. But yeah, we're doing, it's going to be like a little live podcast situation going on at the event, where we're going to be interviewing, some of the sponsors, what they do, interviewing some of the bud tenders that show up today. We get a lot of bud tenders that pulled up.
There you go.
At the last
sponsors.
Pulled up to a lot of event.
You hear that, sponsors?
One. Yeah, bud tenders pulled up to these events for sure. And then, the chocolate fountain. We're gonna do a chocolate fountain. There's gonna be live glass blowing, so you get to see some live glass. Right? Yeah, Witch Doctor.
Awesome.
And we got the infamous piñata, where we'll stick some products in there.
I was gonna say some pre-rolls and stuff like that. Nice.
Yeah, everyone gets turns trying to smash the piñata, and then we will have a dab bar. It's gonna be a dope event, I think. And then perreo music.
Right.
DJ Gasolina will be spinning some tunes. We have a couple other guest DJs that'll be showing up spinning some tunes. So it's last one was great. This one's gonna be even better, I think. So
that's fantastic.
If you haven't copped tickets, cop some tickets.
If you want to sponsor, we'll drop some links in the footnotes for the show. So when it comes to, like, obviously there's a lot, you can hold events and stuff like that, and it's something we've looked into. Are you focused on, like, just to kind of fill out that story a little bit, are you focused on specific parts of Massachusetts right now, and you're holding events in those kind of areas?
Trying to, like, South Shore, there's a big Latino population out there. You know, so we're trying to cater to where the Latinos at. Diaspora was great. You know, we want to move around, but we understand, right? If stuff gets too expensive, we can't really throw an event somewhere.
You got to focus on where everybody is, right?
Yeah. So, you know, people will travel. You know, we got some people who will be traveling to this event to support. Bartenders love the vibe. So there's a lot of Latino bartenders out there, LGBTQ, and you know, we support all that. So people tend to support people. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah. So we've been getting a lot of support for sure. For you know, trying to figure out next event. We don't know yet where we're going to throw it, but we have a lot of ideas for events. Pancakes in Perel was a hit. We want to start doing a car show event.
Car show. That's nice.
You know, bringing some exotic cars to events, have a little car show. We want to do something that's real in my roots is we want to do a grappling event, like
oh, nice. You do grappling?
Jiu-Jitsu.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not as often as I want to right now.
Jiu-Jitsu or?
Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu. Not as my coach will probably
tough the wagon a bit.
Oh, you're talking about us, but you're not here. But Jiu-Jitsu, man, I love it, and like grappling and low key. This is very low key. Grappling and cannabis is kind of like
that's a thing.
That's a thing.
Yeah,
it's been a thing.
Absolutely.
So like, I flew in. I didn't personally fly in high rollers a few years ago, but I reached out to them, like, hey, I think this will be a thing out here for high rollers. So they do a bunch of consumption grappling events on the West Coast.
Oh wow, that makes sense. High rollers, I get it.
Yeah. So we did some things out here with them a few years ago. It was a little messy, but granted, they're not from here, so they don't understand how stuff moves out here in terms of compliance. That's a big one.
I was gonna say that's how it got messy. I get it. Yeah.
And you know, just like finding a space, finding what brands will be willing to sponsor and be a part of it. So I want to do one with UPG.
So like, I was gonna say UPG holds an event. There's a car show event, then there's also maybe a grappling event or something.
Yeah, like it might be two different events.
Yeah, I was gonna say two different events, but because obviously you wouldn't be grappling in the parking lot, maybe around cars. But when it comes to just really quickly on the jiu-jitsu side, like, how do you consume? Do you consume like 30 minutes beforehand, and then just like you get into a flow state on the floor kind of thing?
Super flow state. So when I for me, it was, you know, no, even if I was a little late, I am smoking before I go train. Because it really just relaxes you. It gets you into a nice concentrated state of like, I am focused on what I'm doing right now, not really thinking about anything else.
Right.
So it really gets you into this flow state of, you know, and you know, I lift too, you know, even though I don't look like I'm, I lift. But I try to stay in shape, but like even smoking before I lift, it's like I feel like I'm more focused. Helps me hone in on stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I think I gotta experiment with that a little bit, because I don't do that. What I'll do is, so I go to the gym in the morning, that's the thing, right? And so, but I'm also a low dose consumer. So what I will do sometimes is I'll have like a heavy CBD, CBG kind of situation, because of course I have access to all the cannabinoids at my disposal. I can mix up anything I want in R&D. So like, I'll sometimes do stuff like that, but not so much THC. I think I have to experiment with something like that.
You know, before I go to the gym, I smoke a joint, and like, I end up focusing, and I'm there longer. I end up really just focusing on my workouts and not really like on my phone.
Right. Well, I was gonna say, if you're rolling around on the floor grappling, I don't know if I could. I think I'd be focused on the grappling, because this dude's trying to choke me out. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure if I'd be thinking of my kid's lunch the next day. You know what I mean?
But no, it's definitely in recovery too. Like,
I know. Well, afterwards, yes, absolutely. That's the thing that I focus on, is like after recovery is huge, because if I don't want to be all beat up the next day, I got to focus on right after that. Right?
And, you know, a lot of these guys who train MMA, train grappling, you know, it's their injury, they're at some point, if you're in mixed martial arts, you will get injured.
Yeah.
And
A lot of like knee injuries, jiu-jitsu, right? I heard a lot of
shoulder
people.
injuries.
Shoulder, that makes sense. Shoulders.
I tore this ligament right here. I don't know what this ligament was, but like that was
On your thumb.
that was like wild to see when I tore it. Because like I don't think of any other way I would tear that ligament if it wasn't
Right.
for grappling, you
Right.
know. But like you will eventually get injured, and like cannabis plays a huge part in my recovery from injury.
But like UPG though, holding all these events, it makes sense to like get into the communities that you can have the most impact with,
For sure.
because you're aligned with that community also. And then you're talking about obviously the marketing side, holding events, stuff like that. And I think what can't be understated enough though is your taste. And I think that's something that we focus on a lot in this pod, is that AI can't replace your taste.
No.
Like you're locked up for life with cannabis if you want to be, because it's like, if you've got a good sense of taste, and especially you bring that taste to a new product line like UPG, like that's irreplaceable, right? So you're going to be you're basically the tastemaker at that point. Like you're going to make sure that it all hits the way you want it to hit, and you're going to be able to build maybe a portfolio or product line that kind of hits different parts of it, right? So I really like that strategy a lot, because a lot of people who are coming into the market, they're like, oh, we just get the best weed, it's fire, like you must hear, I mean, buyers must hit you up salespeople must hit you up constantly as the procurement person, because they're just like, I've got this master grower, 30 years, whatever, like we're going to start this huge thing, and you're just like, yeah, dude, I heard that before.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like, oh, sick, you got some gelato.
yeah, exactly. You got some Gorilla Glue. Cool.
Like a lot of this stuff, you know, comes from the same. I understand a lot of it's cut from the same. Like there's a lot of everything's either gelato, you know, a K cross, you know, or a Z cross now, which is fine. But you know, they're very unique. A lot of those
Right.
flavors are very unique.
I hear a lot of people, but like there's some people who just like, I always want sour.
Yeah.
Always want a chem. Like there's definitely people who are like, they like that. That's what they like, because it's almost in their heads a consistent thing. That's if they get that, they'll find it and they'll enjoy it.
Yeah. And I want to curate stuff for that people like. I want to have a chem in the rotation. I want to have a cheese in the rotation. You know, the stuff that people like, but then I also want to put people onto other flavors that they haven't had.
Right.
You know, like
If they trust that one, then they're gonna potentially trust the other ones,
yes.
right?
So that's the goal. It's like curate. You know, that's the benefit of being able to source versus grow, is that sometimes as a brand, you are stuck with what you are growing.
Right. You're stuck with it too.
Yeah.
If you can't move it, that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you're stuck putting that into your supply chain one way or the other.
Right.
Versus us, if I don't want to put it into UPG supply chain, we won't do it.
Right.
So, you know, I guess that's a benefit and a positive for us.
Of being that just the brand, right? Are you on the hunt right now? Are you visiting a bunch of cultivators?
Yeah, I am on the hunt right now.
So if you've got some
stuff.
fire, hit up Julio.
Yeah, hit me up. If you got some stuff, you know, whether it be for UPG or Temescal, definitely hit me up. I'm always looking for something unique. And again, if you got something unique, doesn't mean I'm not going to grab your other stuff. You know?
Right.
Because you got something unique, I will grab the other stuff.
That's how you get Julio to show up right there. It's got to be unique.
So, yeah.
So what about, just to, as we wrap here, like how can people, I guess, find you? We'll obviously put some show notes and links in the show notes, but like any last words or, you know, where people can find you, anything like that? Like when do you expect the first launch to happen maybe?
We just got the packaging done up, and it's on the way. So I am curing up stuff now. I mean, I would say I want to launch at some point mid-September, but you know,
That's soon.
yeah,
That's soon.
yeah, I'm already.
So by the time this comes out, it'll be only like a couple weeks away, maybe. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to time it with launch, because that'd be nice. But yeah, I think I'm hoping September, if not October. But yeah, definitely before this year's over, we're gonna be rocking pre-rolls first, launching with, you know, a bunch of pre-rolls that we curated.
and then CNA expertly put together for you.
Yep. They'll manufacture. They make great
They make great pre-rolls. Yeah.
So, they're a great partner. Rob's a good guy. So yeah, I'm excited to launch with CNA, get our stuff out there and, let the product speak for it. And we got a bunch of cool stuff, like hats. We got some dope designs, limited edition drops. We'll hook all the bud tenders up, glasses, designers. Like
I was gonna say, those are UPG glasses.
Yeah. So we're trying to do a bunch of cool stuff for the bud tenders, stuff that they actually want to wear.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that plays. You win the bud tenders over. You got a salesperson for life. So we're always trying to look out for them, and that's who we cater a lot of these parties for.
Right.
Are the bud tenders. So
love it.
Yeah, I'm hoping to launch. We're hoping to launch September.
All right, September or maybe early October. All right,
early October.
Very cool, Julio. All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate you having me.